It's finally happened. Let's give a round of applause to the news that we have all been waiting for since that god-awful Origins movie. Well, the second half. The first half was actually pretty entertaining. But still, welcome back to another episode of The Comic Stand. Me and my two special guests, Batman and Spider-Man, aka Ninja Deadpool, or Spider Deadpool, whichever one, because they confuse the characters. We're here to bring you guys some great news. They finally approved the Deadpool live-action movie. And it's coming out February something 2016, which actually, if you really think about it, 2016 is going to be a really big year for us comic book nerds, because we've got the Deadpool movie, Batman vs. Superman, Captain America 3, and I think the Skull Island, the prequel to King Kong, is coming out with Tom Hiddleston, which automatically means Loki's going to be playing with apes. So we have a lot to look forward to, and it's just so refreshing because this is actually one of my most requested episodes to do, was how a Deadpool movie can work. And I was going to do it before, but something was telling me to hold off. And then they finally confirmed the news, and let's just jump right into it. Let me first just say that the leaked footage was actually the greatest trailer they could have ever released without it actually being called a trailer. And I loved how that now it's finally approved. So what I normally do, if this is your first time finding me, I make videos every week. I try to do these how a blank movie team or videos can work sometimes, and I try to mix it up a little bit. But what I tend to do now is go through some plot points or some pivotal things that this movie needs, and let's just jump right into it. I'm going to be mentioning a lot of stuff like Weapon X and the Serpent Society and other stuff that they can do, which they can't do because they don't have the rights to certain characters, but I'm going to be explaining all of that in this video, so let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is attached to it, thank goodness. But first and foremost, this movie has to be rated R. I cannot stress that enough. This movie needs to be... If it gets like a PG-13 rating, it's going to be constricted in itself. It's going to be like this. It's going to have like a little thing around its neck. It's not going to be able to do what it can or can't do. One of the things that I will say, if it is PG-13, is that as long as it keeps up with the humor and, you know, the quick-wittedness and everything else that Deadpool represents, then the R rating really won't matter. But my first initial choice, if they ask me, would definitely be for it to be rated R, because let's be honest here, we need some more R-rated stuff. Just think of the game, but, you know, live action. So if it is R, perfect, great, big thumbs up. If it's PG-13, I will question it. But as long as it has, you know, some good fight scenes, good action, great story, quick wit, fourth wall breaking, then I really won't mind. But of course I want it to be rated R, but you know, we're going to jump right into that. We don't need origins for Deadpool because we pretty much know who he is. Just in case, I'll catch you up in these next couple seconds. Deadpool was a volunteer for Weapon X because he had cancer. He was given Wolverine's healing factor. He's insane. He's a mercenary. He likes chimichangas. There. That's 5 pivotal points about Deadpool that you need to know if you didn't already know. And yeah, let's just establish him. He's Deadpool. He's doing his thing. Next up, Deadpool's hilarious and adventurous as a mouthy mercenary. He's a mercenary for hire, meaning he does things because people pay him money to, or they give him stuff that he likes in exchange for it. So let's talk a little bit about how the storyline can work here. When doing this video originally, I overthought a lot of things because Deadpool is that kind of character that he's borrowed in a lot of other people's storylines. So to have one strictly on him was really hard to pinpoint until I just realized that it's Deadpool. Deadpool doesn't overthink, so why should I? So I'm basically going to be going through a lot of stuff that we can do. This movie has to be Weapon X. Like, the villains of this movie have to be Weapon X, because I feel that as a personal connection to having it with Deadpool, I really feel that this movie needs to eradicate Weapon 11, and this movie needs to be about Weapon X. and having Weapon X people try to kill him, he goes off and kills them until the final boss is Weapon 11 from Origins Wolverine. So Deadpool can be cleansed of awful things attached to his name. That's one of the things I wish they would have done in the game, but they didn't do it. But I'm really hoping that in this movie, Weapon 11 is the final boss and the final thing Deadpool has to kill to finally rid people of that god-awful incarnation of his name. But that's just one thing. Deadpool, like I said, Deadpool could be the villain in the villain movie. Taking it back to when Peter was here, mind-blowing everybody. Let me explain. Deadpool is basic. It would be funny if they made Deadpool the villain in this movie until we realize that, like I said, it would be Weapon 11, but he's been calling himself Deadpool because Weapon X is trying to clone Deadpool again, and it's not working. And so they just find ways to piss off Deadpool, so he storms a Weapon 11 base, a Weapon X base, and finds Weapon 11, but he's been calling himself Deadpool the whole time. So when people are like, "You're Deadpool?" No, he's Deadpool. Deadpool's like, "Who's using my name?" And we just go off from there, but, you know, we just go off on there from that. And I'm going to talk about little villains they can have in the middle of it, but Deadpool's ability to break the fourth wall has to be represented and has to be hilariously called upon at pivotal points in the movie. His fourth wall breaking is a blessing and a curse, depending on who's writing it, depending on how you look at it. Personally, I look at it as the perfect blend of you're reading a comic book and Deadpool knows that versus you're reading a comic book and Deadpool talks about it. You know, it's kind of like a perfect balance, and that's all this movie needs for its fourth wall breaking and for Deadpool's ability to know that he's in a movie. And it's going to be hilarious because Deadpool knows he's in a movie. So it's just going to make things a lot funnier and a lot easier for everybody to understand. Deadpool casually and hilariously looks for reasons to do work, which will, you know, as we all know, Deadpool goes around, meets a lot of people, he's been a part of a lot of groups, and, you know, this should just give him reasons to go out. He's given a mission, he's given a list, which can spoof Arrow, actually, to kill people on this list, and he's hired by an unknown assailant and an unknown benefactor. So we don't know who that is until the end. Hold on to that thought, I'm going to talk about that later on at the end. Political missions. Why not let Deadpool interact and tease a little bit about what he's going to be doing in the future? Like, obviously, political missions meaning that when he meets up with Cable, it's like, you know, Cable's here. That means the future's messed up. That means I get to do stuff that I can prevent stuff doing here. Like, kind of like think about what they were doing in X-Men Days of Future Past with preventing the Sentinels from being born, but with Deadpool by himself, essentially. As for people's suggestions about cameos or pieces from the movie, like the X-Men or Wolverine or stuff like that, I feel like that should be cast to the side until the sequels. This is Deadpool's first chance to shine, and to overflood it with cameos and, like, you know, oh, Wolverine's here, oh, Psylocke's here, the X-Men are here. That's too much for his movie. They can be introduced gladly when he's stood on his own 2 feet and he's able to branch himself out there. Then we can talk about him interacting with other characters from whatever universe Fox is trying to come up with. Yeah, they own the X-Men and the Mutants, but I feel like that should be that. Hugh Jackman has come out and said that he wants Deadpool to be in future X-Men movies, or he wants to work with him on something, which I think is that code for X-Force. So, fingers crossed this movie does well so we can see more Deadpool in the Uncanny X-Force movie. We need to, a funny thing actually, I'm going to talk about some ending scenes and some other stuff, but first I want to talk about some villains they can include. Weapon X, like I said, for this first movie I really feel Deadpool deserves the right to kill Weapon 11, and so I feel like Weapon X is that perfect thing to introduce him as going after. It's perfect for that, honestly. Deadpool goes after Weapon 11. I mean, Deadpool goes after Weapon X for what they did to him. Not only with the making him insane and the healing factor and all that, but for the worst thing they could ever have done to a person and make a bad thing out of their name. And Deadpool is so mad about that. If you read the comics after that happened, Deadpool deadly said, why did they make me Baraka? Why did they make me Baraka from Mortal Kombat with I-beams? And so, yeah, Deadpool still has a sore, you know, a little sore note in his heart for that. So Smaller people they could introduce, like Weapon X, and they have a lot of people. I'm not talking about like Omega Red and Sabretooth and maybe Lady Deathstrike. That's woof. That's way later. Let's focus on the smaller people like Ajax and Agent Zero and Silver Fox. To have him, you know, they send out a team to go, you know, like, oh, we need you to go kill Deadpool because he's a pain in the ass and he's gonna blow us up regardless. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll take care of this. And, you know, they send out a team to go kill Deadpool, and, you know, he obviously takes them out, you know, once or twice or whatever. But then finally, we get to the end where Deadpool has literally killed everybody else, and he only has one more boss, one more thing left to do, which is open for him to make video game references, by the way. Just, you know, throwing that out there. But he basically has the final thing to deal with, and it's a little thing that opens up, and it's Weapon 11 again. Because as we all know, in the first, and at the end of Origins Wolverine, we saw the head with the mouth thing removed, and he was like, shh, and he found his head and did all that. So technically, unless it erased the timeline completely, Weapon 11 is still there. So, and even if anything, Deadpool still remembers. You could make a prequel, sequel, hybrid reboot, but Deadpool always knows. So what better way to have Deadpool branch out into his own by killing something, by killing off dead weight. It's like, you know, red hair or a dead twin, but... you know, this would be the perfect chance for everything to work out for Deadpool. He kills up some stuff, all this stuff. Now, some scenes at the end. I have 3 or 4 different ideas that I hope you guys like. It's the first one. We find out that Cable, that Deadpool has been hired by Cable because, as we all know, Cable is a time-traveling mutant who always has a problem with what happens in the past. So he comes back, gives Deadpool a list to help prevent things that are going to happen in the future. That'll explain who Deadpool's working for, about why he's looking for work in the past and all that stuff. Another ending would be him interacting with Wolverine, because, you know, they have to meet up at some point. Another ending would be Wolverine or somebody hitting him up to be a part of X-Force. X-Force could be basically their Deadly Avengers, if you really think about it. And he could be like, you know, I'm interested in you for an initiative. And Deadpool's like, oh my god, the Avengers Initiative? And Wolverine's like, the what? Seeing as how they don't know about each other because they're owned by different companies. I'm looking at you, Fox and Disney Marvel, please buy them. But that will be so funny, and plus that gives more humor for Deadpool because he's like, you want me to join the Avengers like everybody else? And Wolverine's like, what's the Avengers? And Deadpool's like, oh right, different companies. And there's the humor. Again, even in the post-credit scene. And my final ending that will be really funny is just anything, really. I mean, it's Fox. They have X-Men and the mutants. So, pretty much whatever they can get from that without having to mention anything else would be a blessing. But I like my first 3 ideas. Comment, give me a big thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite ending. But, I mean, this movie's finally getting made. And it's just great. I mean, other characters like Garrison, Kane, and Marrow can make appearances for the Weapon X theme that's going to be happening, but honestly, I'm glad the movie's getting made. I'm glad I make videos like this for you guys, and I'm glad you guys suggest videos to me like this. And I'm really glad to do it, because I love the comic book world. I'm glad Deadpool is finally getting a movie, and I just can't wait for other news, and I can't wait to bring you other videos based on sequels. I've read a lot of Deadpool, so I know about what could work and what couldn't work, and I can't wait to see you guys' reactions. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. I make videos every Wednesday and every Saturday, so please give me a subscribe and come back for more of that. My social media links will be here, and I have my logo here. I've actually learned some new stuff, but that's another video. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Big thumbs up for a Deadpool movie. Big thumbs up because I'm explaining how it can work. And always remember that through good times and bad times, always remember to geek out and enjoy your lives. And I'm going to catch you guys next week for another great video.